special event. Introducing first of all, Tommy Wildfire Rich. Tommy Rich and his opponent, the Masked Nightmare. And we're just about ready for action. Tommy Wildfire Rich taking on one half of Georgia Power, the Masked Nightmare. This match a main event anywhere in the country, and the promoters have brought it to you right here today on TV, Southern Championship Wrestling. Just to show you the top caliber competition, how much we appreciate the fans. I know a lot of times the fans are not able to get out to the matches. That's why every now and then we like to bring them a top-notch match, just like we have in the ring right now.
Got an awful lot of fan reaction now. The match is going on in the ring. This match started last week on the Nightmare challenged Tommy Rich anytime, anywhere, and that's what we're seeing now. Tommy Rich is making a complaint to Wolfman, the referee. I believe he's saying that the Nightmare pulled his hair. I didn't see that, Ben.
Well, I believe it was an arm drag takedown, and that's a perfectly well-executed maneuver in professional wrestling. The Nightmare, the consummate athlete, comes from parts unknown and his identity not known, but I tell you what, he has a very good knowledge of that ring. And Tommy Rich, of course, a man possessed. We saw what happened last week, as he just would not defeat the man he was wrestling, but the Nightmare took all he could take, went out there, and then we saw a situation where Tommy Rich caught the man from behind instead of face-to-face.
Tommy Rich was wrestling Keith Steinborn last week, and it turned into a massacre. Tommy Rich was punishing Keith Steinborn.
Good hip-hop takedown by the Nightmare. Arm drag, spin under on the arm, and bars the arm on Tommy Wildfire Rich.
Tommy Rich was punishing Keith Steinborn. Georgia Power was at our desk with us doing some of the interview. Finally, the Nightmare could handle no more of watching Tommy Rich punish Keith Steinborn. The Nightmare went down to break the situation up. Couldn't get it broken up. Tommy Rich hit the Nightmare from behind, clotheslined him from behind, practically knocked the Nightmare out from behind. Then both dressing rooms emptied. It was an incredible situation, Ben. Both dressing rooms emptied.
Every time the Nightmare takes this man down, he's complaining about a hair pull. Tommy Rich, well aware of the reputation of the Nightmare, as he continues to cinch down on that arm. And as you notice, he's got the wrist lock, he's got the upper part of the shoulder lock, and now a hammer lock applied to the arm of Tommy Rich.
So far in this match, Ben, it appears to me that Tommy Rich has gotten the short end, although that could change momentarily, as we just saw.
Tommy Wildfire Rich from Nashville, Tennessee, a former world champion that time, moved into the corner. Nightmare moved out of the way and moved right back to that same arm, applying the pressure to Tommy Rich. Two pressure points on the arm bar as he twists the arm, the wrist, and the shoulder of the arm are being penetrated.
What an incredible career, though, Tommy Rich has had. Spanning years with the NWA, World Championships, Tag Team Championships, years now with Southern Championship Wrestling. One of the favorite of the crowd, one of the fan favorites of all time. And then something happened to Tommy Rich just within the last year or so. Hooked up with Mr. Donnie, and something has happened to Tommy Rich. He has been a different wrestler ever since.
Fireman's carry takedown by the Nightmare, showing the great scientific knowledge that he possesses. And Tommy Rich now in a world of trouble. That arm's going to give him a fit in the morning when he gets up.
It is that, Ben. That arm is going to be sore tomorrow. As much as I love wrestling, Ben, I'm really fortunate that I'm 5'7" and 160 pounds. Nobody's going to ask me to wrestle, and that's a good thing because I would die. I watch this every week, and I would die from some of these moves.
Good step over on the arm and continues to apply the pressure. The Nightmare has put that arm in just about every conceivable arm hold in wrestling and continues to fight up pressure. That time, Rich caught him in the back, and the Nightmare goes down. Rich caught him in the back of the head.
Good wrestling strategy, Ben. Good wrestling strategy to work on one extremity, one arm, one foot, one leg, whatever, and continue to beat and pound on that extremity. You can see Tommy Rich shaking his arm now.
That blood supply cut off to that arm. He's trying to get that feeling back in that arm. Obviously, he can't use it effectively if he can't even feel it. Right now, the Nightmare tossed down to the floor. Mr. Donnie down there. Mr. Donnie and Tommy Rich claims this man never interferes in matches, but we saw a perfect example. Rich now catches the Nightmare, breaks his neck across that soft ring rope, and again, Mr. Donnie at ringside, a very controversial individual, that Mr. Donnie.
He is that. He is that. He's changed ever since, again, as I repeat, Tommy Rich was a crowd favorite and one of the most popular wrestlers in history. And his association with Mr. Donnie has made a radical change in his life and his wrestling style and his lifestyle. Tommy Rich is a different person now. A lot of fans that have watched Tommy over the years are saddened by the change.
Right now, the Nightmare in that corner again. Mr. Donnie looking very conspicuous by his actions. And the Nightmare dazed on the rope. Tommy Rich catches a hard elbow smash to the top of the head of the Nightmare. The Nightmare fires back. Now we've got both men firing away as the Nightmare kicking at the leg of Rich, trying to take that leg out so Rich will go down.
First it was the arm, Ben, and now it's the leg. That is progressive, scientific wrestling. The Nightmare working on one extremity, then the next, weakening Tommy Rich. The crowd is definitely behind the Nightmare. The crowd enthusiasm is evident here.
Nightmare now diving into the leg of Tommy Rich. And as you said, he went into the leg from the arm. And as you know, a table will not stand on 3 legs, and Tommy Rich will not stand on 1. Right now, the Nightmare scoops his man up, single leg pick up, figure 4, leg lock applied, and we could have a submission right here. Tommy Rich could submit.
Here comes Mr. Atlanta.
Mr. Atlanta coming into the ring. Wolfman is called for the bell. Mr. Atlanta came in just when it looked like Tommy Wildfire Rich was about to submit.
The dirty white boy into the ring, Ben.
The other half of
pandemonium
the power
again.
comes in. Pandemonium and excitement. I do believe Tommy Rich was in trouble right then as Mr. Atlanta came in. Thank goodness for the dirty white boy coming out. I do believe that the Nightmare will be the winner. Yes,
the Nightmare is the winner by disqualification.
We're going to have more Southern Championship Wrestling, and take a look at Steve Pritchard, Ron Starr, right after these words.